Bill?
We're on.
Yep, we're good to go.
All right, Coach Wilson, thanks for joining us. We'll start it out with Austin Ward. Lead us off, Austin.
Hey, Kevin.
Hello.
I know that the big topic of conversation for us is about the quarterbacks, and throughout your career, you've always been flexible with what you could do with the offense and play to their strengths. I just wonder, when you look at these three, how different are they? How much would you have to, I don't know, change anything to suit their strengths between the three of them?
I think we need a lot of time. You know, you go through what we just, we had a really, I thought, strong winter session. Even with that couple-day pause, we had some great workouts and, you know, leadership development and all that. And we're not around to be around them when they're throwing the ball and stuff like that. So, you know, you got one practice, and fortunately, what's unusual with those 15 early graduates, we have so many numbers that sometimes in spring you get a little tight with your numbers and maybe can't do as many reps. You know, we have enough numbers that'll help all these young guys get reps, because you can practice a hair longer and get a few more plays at 7-on-7 at team. Because to me, they just need time. I know Coach Day and Coach Dennis, like you said, with some comments about me, I think, you know, we'll always play to their strengths. I don't think the offense ever changes, but you play to me to always what the offensive line can do and what the quarterback can do. And I think in time, we got plenty of time with spring and then the summer workouts to figure that out. So they look good through winter. We've just had one practice with a few throws. So to say the strengths of a guy or weaknesses, we know a little bit more about CJ and Jack. At the same time, we missed a lot of those guys. They missed last spring. They missed last preseason. So all those, you know, reps, and, you know, when we're getting into game week, you know, back then Justin was getting 80% of the reps in practice. So, I think we got a lot of water to go over the dam, a lot of time. They all three are talented. They all three are working hard, and they have great supporting cast, and that's going to be fun.
Ready, we'll go next to Clay Hall, WSYX.
Coach, what does the Ruckert return mean for Ohio State football?
Well, in my world, losing Jake and Luke, I don't think people can really undervalue how good Luke is. He's a 3-year starter at tight end. I've had several pro scouts say they think he might be as good at blocking tight end as there is coming out in the draft. Jeremy has developed that way. And I do think Jeremy has a strong skill set that will hopefully, even though we got all those receivers back, we can maybe look to find him more in the progression to get more touches. So he's, I think he can maybe be as complete a tight end as maybe there is in college this year, because I think his range of catching the ball, there might be a couple guys that maybe rawer, real faster tight ends, but the combination of blocking, route running, catching, I think he's setting up to have a super year. He's leaned up. He's about 248. So he's trimmed up a little bit. And I think he's strong enough. You know, I think when you're young, sometimes you think you need to gain weight to be a better blocker. I think his strength level has gotten well enough. I know we were visiting last year with one of the best pros in the game, and he said he was weighing 240 pounds, but he's very, very fast and very, very physical. And I think Jeremy's getting enough confidence in himself as a blocker, and his strength level with Coach Mick has improved, that I think he's trying to maybe be a little leaner and hopefully be a little quicker in and out breaks to create some separation, and hopefully we can get him more involved in the pass game. I think he sets up to have a great year. I think that's a huge piece of a good offense, is the tight end, because I think it connects the run game and the pass game protection. Basically, we're playing left tackle and wide receiver. And then we lose about 30 minutes a day because we got to go to kicking meetings and kicking practice. So, you know, we got to do all the kicking stuff, and we got to play 2 real positions. So it's a lot of development. And for an elite player, I think it's one of the qualities of our program. He is an elite player that came in, has been a great developer. And I think he's developing himself in Clay to have a great year.
That's a complete answer. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All righty, we'll go next to Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
Hey, Kevin, another tight end question. How close are you to determining whether you have a second or a third tight end that you can play with confidence? And what do you need to see this spring from people other than Jeremy Ruckert?
Yeah, that's a huge, because one, you need more than just Jeremy because of the flow of the game and tempo of the game. So the second guy's got to play a little bit like a second running back, and sometimes even a third. Same with receivers, all those skill guys, let alone the personnel of 12 packaging. So I think Cade Stover, who looks like he's was recognized by our strength coaches as one of the top performers in the offseason. I think Cade coming through, there'll be a big spring for Cade. Mitch Rossi's kind of that fullbackish, 6'2", about 245, where he can do some things as a tight end, but he's kind of a hybrid fullback. He'll have a role. And then Joe Royer is going to be a guy that needs to come on, because if we can have a second tight end, and even as good as Jackson and J-Mo and all the receivers are out there, the young guys coming in are going to be outstanding with Mecca and Marvin. And of course, you got Chris and Garrett and Wiggs. We got a bunch of talented wide guys out there that can catch the ball, but it'd be nice to that second tight end can get on the field, like maybe not as much as last year, but it'd be nice to get him out there. So I don't think we have to figure it out by spring, because I think we're going to need the summer to continue that development of physical toughness and strength level. And I think it'll probably be middle of preseason before we know if we truly have a second tight end that we can compete for a Big Ten championship with, because we're going to need that player to be the complete team we need to be.
All righty, we'll go next to Dave Biddle, 247. Dave.
Hi, Kevin. Can you just kind of break down your expectations for the offensive line this year? I mean, even losing Wyatt and Josh, could this group be just as good, better? Just how do you view the offensive line going into this year?
We got to find the best five, between guys like, Paris Johnson, DeJuan Jones, Matt Jones, Harry Miller, Enoch, Ryan Jacoby. Got some young freshmen coming in. So, you got your two tackles back with Nick and Thayer. You've got Harry started a great deal. Matt Jones played a lot down the stretch. So, DeJuan's got to start under his belt. So you got some guys that have played in critical games. Paris was playing a lot in the Clemson and in the national championship game. So you've got some guys that play, but we've got to find the best five. And in my opinion, we always need 8. You need a third tackle you can win with, like we're talking tight end. You need a third guard you can win with, and you need that second center. Maybe that guard and center is the same guy. So we need 7 or 8. The key would be in time, though, who's the best 5? I don't know if that shakes out till middle of preseason, tell you the truth. But very talented, very athletic. Maybe the most competitive group on offense right now. The way they practiced in the winter, they were probably the top offensive group. And when the linemen are having a great winter, if all the lifting and running coach Mick puts them through, that shows the maturity. Thayer and Nick are maybe 2 of the best leaders we have on offense. So that group is going to be awesome, and time will tell. I think Dave, the best in time, that best 5. And I've always thought you need 7 or 8 to play like we need to play.
Just a real quick follow-up. Matt Jones started 3 games for you guys, which was almost half the season when you play 8 games. And I know Coach Day said he played well. Was that a surprise to you, Kevin, how well Matt Jones played?
Matt, like many of our players, very, very talented, number one. Sometimes maybe lacks the maturity or the confidence level early. And when you come in like so many of our guys, and no disrespect to you and the other recruiting guys, these guys get hyped up so much. When you're playing tight end or O-line, sometimes it takes about 2 years to figure it out. All the physicalness and the maturity and the mental maturity and physical maturity you need, and the confidence of the schemes. And for Coach Stud to keep him embraced, or you saw the same with Nick Fatigue. I thought Nick played maybe last year about as good as anyone, and really didn't play those first 2 years. It happened with Thayer and Wyatt, that, the first 2. So there's a little bit of grooming process with that position, and it takes a little time. And I think it's a credit to Matt to have the wherewithal and the courage and the toughness to keep fighting through the trash and the day-to-day grind to become a winning player. And hopefully he's scratching the surface, and he'll keep doing that, because I think he's talented with upside. But we can throw about 12, 13, 14 linemen like that. We can throw about 40 guys on offense like that are talented and are fighting through that to become the player that they're capable of being.
Thank you, Kevin.
All righty, we'll go next to Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Kevin, just another question back to the tight ends. You guys ran a lot of 12 personnel, 2 tight ends the last couple of years. How much of that was due to depth and having somebody like Luke Farrell to have with Jeremy Ruckert, or is that kind of the preference moving forward, just trying to kind of gauge how important it is to develop that?
Well, I think and Dave just asked the question line, you got to find the best 5, and then you got to find your best 11. So when that tight end goes out there, what's his ability to be productive? What's he bringing to the offense? And if he's not bringing a chance to be a productive blocker, route runner, help us in protection, you stay with a third receiver, or you can even go to a 4th receiver and take them both out. When you don't have a tight end game, It does hurt in protection a little bit once in a while where you're helping those tackles on the edges and picking up blitzes. It does hurt the run game, but now the quarterback has to read it more or RPO throw it more. So I do think the better the tight end takes a lot of stress off the quarterback and O-line, but you don't have to play them. You know, as talented as those receivers are, they better be pretty good because you can throw 2 deep, 3 deep at receiver. It's going to be outstanding. So I think the offense goes to basically, Joey, just getting the best 11 guys on the field as much as possible, not minimizing our ability for the defense to attack us. We still have to attack the defense. And sometimes the tight ends can alleviate some pressure, but they got to be productive. And we've had some serious talks with Cade and Joe. Corey Rouse, a transfer from SMU. There was a scholarship player that's walked on here. It's had a great offseason. He's getting in shape, good enough to maybe help us in some short, not be a starter, but help us at tight end and be maybe a short yardage type guy and have a role. So the more those guys can play, the fine. But as a tight end guy, I don't advocate for them. I advocate for the best players. And I'm just trying to help them develop to become the best they can and hopefully the best they can to help us win and get on the field.
All right, I got time for just a couple more. We'll go to Bill Landis for the Athletic.
Hey, Kevin, sounds like Parrish Johnson's going to start at guard this spring. I'm just wondering what you think of him there as opposed to tackle, and then how interchangeable you think tackle and guard are in your offense.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, the pass sets will be a little bit different, but he's athletic enough. Most guys that play guard that have to go to tackle sometimes aren't athletic long enough to block those fast edge rushers. For sure, Parrish is. Sometimes some of those guys can maybe be a little bit too big to be guard, but I personally think, especially if you're staying on the same side and you're going from a right-handed stance or a left-handed stance. I'm a left guard going to left tackle. You just move over. It's a little bit different matchup, but the words are the same. I'm play side, I'm back side, I'm man side of protection, I'm a slide wall side of protection. So I think it's pretty easy. And that's the way I think, you can see yourselves getting your best 5 on the field because just because someone is slated as a guard, if that tackle can play guard, fine. If that guard can play center, if that center can play guard, like who's the best 5? And really at the end, who's the best 7? I believe when we played the national championship game, that the team that won the game had the backup center playing in the game. And I believe the guy that won the Remington Award wasn't playing in the game. So the backup had to be good enough to win a championship. And I think that's what we're looking for here is to win this thing. It takes about 24, 28 guys on offense to win. And that's what we're going to do, keep developing these guys so they all can be starters when called upon, and they can all play championship football when called upon because that's the standard.
All righty, we'll wrap up Coach Wilson with Dan Hope from 11 Warriors.
Hey, Kevin, obviously you guys have a lot of different guys in the mix there at running back. Just kind of how do you view that competition playing out this spring with all the different guys you have at that spot?
With the 2 freshmen here, and when spring's not like it was years and years ago. There's a lot of scrimmaging. So the ball security issue will be, comment today in a meeting room with my players was, why aren't freshmen on special teams? And one guy said, well, they're not good enough. And then my senior said, because you don't trust them. And I think the key at running back is you're giving that guy the game. You're giving him the football. We play football and we put the game in your hand. So it's one thing to make plays, but you're really looking for a guy that you can trust, takes care of the ball, understands protection, takes a little bit of time. I think we'll get some of that in spring, but I still think like so many of these positions, I think we'll go through summer, not to drag out in depth charts and give you guys all kinds of reasons to write all summer and speculate and all that stuff, because I got to keep Tim May awake and all that stuff as we go through the summer months. But as we get to there, I think it's going to take about half a preseason because we missed so much last year that even these second-year players are almost like freshmen. And we got to keep playing through and just keep playing the game and loving each other and learning how to play and rocking and rolling. So, but those 2 freshmen being here, it'll be nice because we'll get a good judge of where they're at with Master and Mayan and Marcus and all the guys that we have, Xavier Johnson, et cetera.
All righty, Coach. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it today.
It's always a great day when you got spring ball and a little basketball in the afternoon for the Buckeyes. So go Bucks. Have a great one.